I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda for the
Make the
next?
motion. Second.
Tim with the motion, Mike with the second. So, any discussion? All in favor? Randy? Can I get a motion, or actually, is Randy because? Okay, so we're going to dispense with the community open forum. Can I get a motion to approve item D, personnel?
I'll make the motion.
Second. McCarthy with the motion, Lloyd with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, sorry. Being unanimous, I'll turn it over to Tom to welcome.
If I can have Jason Lloyd stand up. Jason Lloyd is our new technology teacher. We're very excited to have him. He comes with many years of experience. We're thrilled to have you here and be recognized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. We don't have the bag for you tonight, but you will get a very fantastic.
I didn't want to go for one of us and forgetting it, so I thought, nobody brings it up. Well, you have a great bag coming your way. It's beautiful.
Can I get a motion for item D?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so Tim with the motion, Steve with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to item F, special presentation to the board. I'll turn it over to Tom and introduce Mr. Penrod.
Yeah, we have Mr. Conrad, I see Mr. King, I see Mrs. Smolman. So here we go with our spotlight on Central Square Middle School. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for having us here. I'm going to ask everybody to join me, and as you already said, Mr. King is here, Mrs. Smalling is here, and Lori Hedges, our consultant, has been working with us through this process, so wherever you can stand on up, we will be changing places and saying all kinds of things. We'll be holding on to the microphone because I can't figure out how to make it stand a little older anymore. And if I remember correctly, I pointed at Pearl. Excellent. So our goals for our presentation is just to provide you with a broad overview of how we're progressing towards meeting the goals that were laid out in the school comprehensive education plan. You'll see some of the charts are purposely too small. I just want to give you an idea of the steps and how we're progressing and getting steps accomplished. We want to talk about what the data is and is not showing about our growth towards those goals, and discussing the action steps that we're using to address those goals for improvement as we move forward.
Hi, my name is Lori Hedges, and I'm helping with your STEP facilitation. I've worked many years with facilitation. I was professional development, assistant superintendent for instruction. I did a lot of work with SED. So having been on both sides of the visit, I was asked by Connie to come and kind of support. So Tom and Connie have been working with the building as well as me to kind of get everything rolling. I was there to help with the state ed visit and also to help write the plan. State ed came in initially. They moved through dozens, literally, of classrooms. They visited with students. There were stakeholder groups. There were interviews. There were surveys. All kinds of data was collected, and then state ed sent some recommendations from there. My primary role in the beginning is I'm a researcher, really, so I did all of the research behind the plan. Everything had to be research-based, pulled from the clearinghouse, so that was my part. I was kind of backdrop to help with that. Currently, I'm working on the professional development end, so as we figured out what some of the gaps were, I would pull the research and help with the professional development for both the administrators and the teachers. I've been really in the role of coach for all of the administrative team. We instituted data meetings as well. One of the biggest things that State Ed said when they came to visit was that they were very, very pleased at the structures, the internal structures that were available. But they were very concerned that there wasn't something in place that was an ongoing thing where there were teachers who got together to talk about student achievement data on a regular basis. So it isn't so much about waiting until the test scores come when those aren't your children anymore. It's about looking at student work on a monthly basis per se to say, okay, this is what the students seem to be struggling right now. What can we do as an intervention going forward so that we can head everything off and help students improve? So that's kind of my role, is to facilitate those structures. And it has been a privilege.
So when it comes to our first goal with ELA, this is kind of where we're at for the first half of the year. These were the steps that we had worked on. The far column to the right, all the X's are the steps that we have completed. There's one step that we are still, it's still a work in progress for us. But the point of this slide, as Matt mentioned before, was just to try to show you where we're at in the process of going through our step plan. Our goal for ELA is based on the New York State assessments. And so, of course, we don't have the state assessment data until the students take it in March, April. But our mid-year goal is based on our STAR assessment. So our mid-year goal was that 49% of the students will meet or achieve the 40th percentile or higher as compared to the fall assessment. We fell slightly short in this. For this goal, our mid-year goal, we only have 46% of the students had 40th percentile or higher. But still pretty close to our mid-year goal. But like I said, this is based on STAR, where our actual goal that we have for our state plan is based on the New York State assessment.
Mrs. Smalling, do you happen to know if that improved from last year?
From last year? From last year at this time, so the numbers were different. So last year we started at 53%, and at the end of the year we ended up at 57%. In the fall, we began with 46%, so we kind of stayed the same for this year. So last year's numbers were different. I don't have a mid-year report from last year because that's not one of the reports that we get. But from our numbers are different, but it's a different group of kids.
This is the math portion of it. Again, we've made progress. We completed our mid-year benchmarks October or August through November. The one thing we are still working on in math, just as we are in ELA, and all the content areas, is working towards the next generation standards and making sure that they're fully implemented. Part of that's about the curriculum audit that I'm sure you heard about from Ms. Galvan, starting at the high school. So even though we've been working on them, we don't feel like we fully implemented, fully completed that step with math or ELA or our other content areas, which is why it's talked about with X. And then going to show that no matter how many times you proofread something, you can't always get all the details. This should say the math STAR assessment. Our goal for the mid-year was that 65% of our students in math would meet or achieve the 40th percentile rate or higher, and we've exceeded that at 68.3% so far this year. So math is moving along. ELA is struggling a little bit behind, but we're definitely putting a lot of work in with the data meetings and looking at curriculum and content and instruction and how we're doing those things.
At the beginning of the school year, we implemented ELA and math data meetings. Teachers come to us, content area teachers, ELA. We started with ELA and math. When I was here in January, we implemented social studies and science. So basically, teachers come in groups by grade level, so 3 levels of 7th grade, 3 levels of 8th, and special ed also helps. Each meeting has a very specific protocol. There are 4 questions that we answer every time. And that is, what does the data tell you? What does the data not tell you? What are the implications for instruction? And what are our next steps? So in the very first meeting, we actually looked at state ed data. What we did a little bit differently, however, is lots of times when teachers get their data, the students are already gone. So if you were a teacher of 8th grade, you literally looked at the 7th grade test because those children were in your classrooms now. And we wanted to find out what they could do, what they struggled with. The second meeting, we started with reassign. We all agreed to an instructional task. Those were given on the same day, and everybody brought back the student work. So compositions mostly for ELA, constructive response for math, and then we looked at all of those. Social studies and science were just started with. These things will give you everything you'll need for the curriculum audits as you go forward. You have the data of what students can do, what you do want to change, and what you don't. What we found was that in every content area, multi-step questions seem to be an issue. Students think they get all the way, but they don't really. And so one of the things that we have done is we have asked all of music, art, PE, load, all of the teachers are now making sure that students are faced with multi-step questions no matter what the content is in every classroom in the school, and we are seeing some progress. Breaking apart the question also seemed to be an issue in every single content. It kind of goes with the first one, so if there are 3 steps in the question, they can't really get all the way through, so they're navigating the text. We have put in place several strategies based on what we learned from that data. Further development and constructive response of all kinds. We have been working with the students, and we are seeing definitely an improvement in this, and how to get to the end of your thought, how to explain, how to harvest text, how to explain your answer in math. So again, all contents have been asked to contribute to this opportunity for practice. Graphs and charts was kind of an interesting one, but what I've seen in some other districts I work with is children who might struggle to read are much better with graphs and texts because they are charts, because they're so trained for decoding. For children who normally are more fluent are falling down on graphs and charts. So everybody's kind of paying attention to that and making an effort to integrate that into content no matter what it is.
So overall, on the SET plan, we had 5 goals, areas of improvement. We had math, we had ELA, and we also had a survey question based on a student survey. We had a school choice that we were allowed to pick from, and we had chronic absenteeism, which Mr. King will talk about in a moment. And for one of the school selected ones, we really wanted to focus on what students were saying, because that was a big thing that came back in the survey, is how students felt about things. So one of the questions asked on the initial student survey, and this is the results from that, is do students respect one another? And that had an 85%, or 86% neutral to agree, strongly agree component to it. Our goal of mid-year was to go up by 3% on that. So we took a mid-year survey a little while ago, and instead of, we definitely did not make growth, we went from 85.7 down to 71.6, so down 14% on whether students feel like they're respected by each other. That was a little disconcerting. We've spent some time working closer with students because they answer a question on a survey based on how they understand the survey. So we also went back and said, okay, what does it mean to respect one another? What does that look like to you? Are you answering the question the right way? Do you know what it implies, what it looks like? And we spent some team meeting time that we'll talk a little bit more about, where we've actually worked with the students about what can we do to make this look better? What can you do to make this look better? So the students are engaged in conversations with us, with the teachers, and with each other to work on that. Another thing, again, we focused not on the parent surveys, not on the teacher surveys, but on the student surveys, is do my teachers care about me? And the results last at the initial point were that 70.7% of the students felt that that was a neutral to an agree that their students cared about them. And we wanted to raise that, obviously, and at the mid-year point, that went from 70.7 up to 95.9%. So there's a couple things that are about that to point out. One is that's fantastic that we've gone up that much. We've far exceeded the mid-year goal. But but then it leads to more questions. Well, if we went up that much and students thinking their teachers care about them, why do we go down that much and students respecting each other? The two things don't seem to be in balance with each other. And again, that's why we spend time in team meetings with students. Why does this one look like this? Why does this one look like that?
So Matt, this is for all students can take this, have taken it, and what's the participation rate? Roughly?
Roughly 95% or higher.
95% of the students in the middle
We
school?
took a writing class and part of something they had to do. Chromebooks.
So it's been given twice this?
It's been given twice, yeah. And we will obviously have an end of the year piece.
And do you have the exact questions? Right in front of you now.
I do not. They are pretty much, those are the exact questions though.
My teachers care about.
Yeah, trying to make it very basic, very simple, and not all that interpretive as far as coming up with answers to that. So things that we've done to work on those survey goals is the implementation of the positivity project and announcements on teams and assemblies. It's the first time, I think, in the 13 years that I've been in middle school that we've all had a specific character education program that everybody has some sort of piece in. We've distributed that across, so it happens in teams, it happens in classrooms, it happens on the announcements. It's there and out for students to know about all the time. We've definitely provided students more opportunities for feedback to the principals and to the teachers than has been done at any point in time since I've been there. Where we've had team meetings where there's 3 administrators and there are 5 team teachers, and we split the kids up and we have some discussion groups and get an opportunity to get feedback from the students. That's one way that we've gotten feedback from. Also some group presentations that different teachers have had in their classrooms as part of their class, but definitely more has been done in the past. And we've definitely spent, I think, an awful lot of time, although we've always done it. I think there's been an increased focus last year and especially this year on providing teachers opportunities to learn about their relationships with students and families. We put some stuff in place that started last year and is definitely continuing this year, all working towards those survey goals, which really point to having a positive climate in the building and a positive way of interacting between students and teachers and students and students, and making sure that we're all on the same page with that.
Good evening, I'm here with the chronic absenteeism slides. You see we're progressing very well in several areas. One area that we are still in progress is working with the attendance committee and the parent educational portion of understanding that being in school is an important task for our students for each one day you're out. That's 7 hours of instruction. You start tacking that on to definition for chronic absenteeism of 10% or more days. That's a lot of time missed out in the classroom. Our end of the year goal is to have an absentee rate no higher than 14.2% of chronic absenteeism. When we speak about chronic absenteeism, you have to remember that it's a sliding scale per school day. So 10%, I believe we're at 101 school days. So we'll just make it easy. That's 10 days or more missed. You now fall underneath that chronic absenteeism list. January 13th, 11.7% of our students were considered chronically absent in a month. It increased by almost 5%. There could be some variables that factor into that. Saw an increase in flu and sickness, and also some families that were taking vacations that were not along the typical school calendar vacation lists. Something else that should be noted is that our Hispanic subset, the number is now too low to be considered measured. So we're looking at it as an overall number, not with specific subsets. So when we're looking at chronic absenteeism, we're looking at it as a whole body, no specific individual groups.
Just to be clear on this, both data points, the January and February, were the whole group without
Yes.
subcommittee.
Based on some of the state ed feedback and some of instructional delivery, we've been working a lot on the gradual release of responsibility. Basically, what we're trying to do is diminish teacher talk so that there's more ownership of learning from the students. So a lot of professional development happened around the gradual release of responsibility. Books were provided. I actually came in and did a presentation for all of the administrators, including the superintendent. So we did that. Task predicts performance is a follow-up to that. And how do you design instructional tasks that promote the gradual release rather than teacher talk and then students work? So what does it look like to incorporate a lot more collaborative work? Difficult conversations is a work in progress that I'm doing with the administrative team about what is really just a clarifying conversation as opposed to what's a really hard conversation. So we're talking, they say this, how can you say this so that things don't escalate? So that's the piece that we're navigating right now. Rigorous learning opportunities was a big day that was supposed to happen on the snow day. So that material's already in research and ready to go, but it's going to need to be rescheduled at some point. But that's ready to go based on something that State Ed asked about. The data analysis protocol I already kind of reviewed, but that is eking out and starting to get into the mindset of what does the data tell us, what does the data not tell us, so that we are starting to build a culture of we always look at student work and it's just a part of our job. So that's kind of the professional development slate that's been happening since last May probably as we move forward and through the rest of this year.
So to talk about some of the things that are going really great for us, we have seen an increased student participation in after-school activities. We have tutoring going on. We have mentoring going on. All ways for students to become more engaged, more connected to the school. We have our social worker assistant position, and she's been beneficial in helping us put some of the tutoring and mentoring together and making connections with those kids and putting together some intervention plans. We have our attendance protocols and individual plans for intervention to address the chronic absenteeism. We work with our group, we call them the CAPS, and that's our counselors and our admin and our sites and our social worker assistants. Some other things that we've got going on, our regular team newsletters, and that's increasing communication from our teachers to our parents to inform them of what's going on in their classes, their students' classes. We've had an increase in student input and participation, whether it's in team meetings, and that picture is in the upper right-hand corner. It was a project that the students were given the task to figure, what were some ways that they could have students be more connected. And then in the picture in the lower left here, this is one of the pictures from our team assemblies that we have, where the administrators and the teachers, we have talked about the positivity project, and then you'll see the students have paper and pencils, and this is where they provided input into some questions to get feedback and to get them more involved into some of the things going on at the school.
So in addition to our goals, we definitely have some areas where we still need to grow, including my use of this spot.
It's like 10 times.
We definitely know that we need to continue to provide time, professional development guidance, and incorporate the next generation standards in different content areas. That will be ongoing. They're not needed to be fully implemented at this time, but we're definitely working towards that. We feel we need to provide PD and best practices in reading instruction. Reading instruction, obviously, for the reading teachers, for kids that are struggling readers, but are we using good vocabulary acquisition strategies in the classroom? Because that's a huge piece of all the content in the middle school and in the high school is, okay, how do you actually use and acquire the vocabulary so you can use it to show us that you know you understand what you were learning, not just a list of words, but how are they implemented into the daily classroom. We definitely know that it's a challenge to make a measurable difference in chronic absenteeism and individual attendance. And we look at that number as a group and it's 11.7 right now, or it's 16.5 right now, but in reality, it's taking a kid who may have missed 35 days last year and increase their attendance by 10% is to get them to come 4 more days this year. And that is a challenge to do, and something we're working on, and we're doing that through having teachers and everybody trying to make personal connections with kids and have them connect with school. And another huge challenge that we have is, you saw all the check marks, X's, and things that we've accomplished. We're doing all that while we're spinning all those other plates of observations and discipline and all those other things that we all do. So I think we're making a lot of progress, but we still have an awful lot of work to do as well as we go through the 2-year set. So I will now. Questions?
If I could you talk about how you're working with elementary schools, right? Because this really needs to be I look at it as a complete picture, right? So if students are coming to the middle school and they're lacking certain skills or lacking certain things, is there gaps in it? How are you working with elementary to ensure that they understand the issues and the problems that you're trying to get addressed correctly?
Administratively, there's been a lot of connections made in discussion about the chronic absenteeism problem and the social worker assistance work between the elementary buildings. Us seeing that there's a 7th grade boy who missed 35 days of school last year. Oh wait, look, they have a 2nd grade brother or sister, and making sure that communication happens between the schools so the principal or social worker assistant is really focusing on that problem too. It's usually not a single kid problem, it's usually a family issue and a family concern. So a lot of that's happening with the social worker assistants. Definitely, we know that our students will be stronger in ELA and reading as the elementary schools continue to grow with their use of the letters training and OCLI and all the things that are going on there. So there's a lot of communication and talk about that. But a lot of it has to do with connecting the families, getting them engaged in school, the elementary school, and keeping them engaged in middle school.
And just to piggyback on that, they've done a lot of work. The 2 big transition areas are obviously coming from the middle school into 9th grade. It's big, but also from 5th grade going into the middle school at 6th grade. So they have been working, with their transition teams academically, but then also those at-risk students that are struggling. What were they struggling with reading in 5th grade? So those conversations are happening.
And it doesn't answer your question about the elementary school, but with the social work assistant, we have some students that we think will probably be hesitant who are in 8th grade to come to high school, and they've already had separate visitations than the rest of the general 8th grade population to set up to make them feel more comfortable, make sure that they're connected with somebody up here, and we're looking at how can we do that with some of the incoming 5th graders as well. So they feel comfortable and definitely more at home when they get there.
Tom, can you refresh my memory? Why did state require this state ed? This is dealt from state ed to do this project, correct? Just refresh my memory on why that is.
We had some of the subgroups that had performed lower than what they felt should have been for math, for ELA, and whatnot. So that really started at the middle school.
From 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, they look at
17,
3-year
18.
trend. And one of the things I think came up when we were on the 7th plan was a concern with state ed coming in and telling us how to do things, what to do. I will say the process has been very participatory, and whoever they've had come visit has really shot, other than saying, here's where we need you to be, at the end of the time, they haven't said how to get there. They've been very, what do you think the best way is? What works for your kid? What works for your school? What works for your setup? Here's some things we've seen work other places, but they've been very, very back and forth and very open to discussion, and not just saying, do this, do this, do this.
Okay, great job. Great job, team.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And IOG reports under unfinished business, we have discussed the Board of Education presentations. If no one has anything to discuss about those, I don't think we have any questions. Does anybody have any questions or? Moving on to the President and Vice President reports. We all received an email today from Pearl with a memo from the attorneys. From the attorneys about considering the future resolution to revoke the personal registration requirement, something we talked about at the last meeting. We want to try to discuss any questions. Anybody that has any questions, we want to get those to Pearl. so that she can get them to Bethany, so that those questions can be answered. Because ideally, due to the timeline for, if we don't revoke personal registration, we have to post a notice, and we have to get all those things rolling soon. So to the extent we are going to, which I think from the last meeting is kind of the pulse that we got, we were leaning towards revoking it. I know that's Andy's position. His recommendation is to revoke it, to kind of take that burden off of Pearl for the very limited amount of benefit that we're seeing from it. So to the extent anyone has any questions, I'll let you guys go first, but I do have a few to pass along. So Pearl, there's a time and location of voter registration. We talked about if you had people come to this in-person registration, you would register them with the concern being that they would only be registered for the school district elections and votes. They would not be registered for the county, and your concern being that they may think that they are. And you had said that you could potentially scan them the Chromebook and have them do it online, but I noticed in here that it says online applications can take up to 6 weeks. So I wasn't sure if they register in person for the school district vote, is it quicker? Could they, is it a quicker process? So this 6-week delay could potentially cause people to miss the election? Maureen? Yeah. Okay, so the 6-week delay from online, it could potentially cause a problem for someone that wants to register for the school district.
Correct.
Okay.
They would need to do it just like a general voter registration. If we weren't doing personal registration, it's going to be 6 weeks ahead of us.
Okay, so if we did personal registration, and when would that cutoff typically be in years past?
7 days.
So then this would be a potential issue that could create for some of the people that used to come in person. If they did that and we told them, well, no, you have to do it online, now we're not doing it anymore, they may not get their voter registration in time if they do it online.
Right.
Okay.
But we wouldn't be advertising that we're offering personal registration. So I don't think they would be coming in thinking they were going to register for then.
Okay, but precedence-wise, people think they can come in the week before and they'll be fine. And
So
so
people
today,
I'm sorry.
So-
So people come in today, not today, but right before the election to register, and it's for that election only?
it's for the school districts.
For that year though, if they're redoing it next year, if you redo it next year?
No.
No, they're registered. So why can't they just do it the way everybody else has done it for 150 years? Get registered, why do they need to go through you?
Because some people come, and I think you said primarily students. So primarily students come into her office to register to vote in the upcoming school election, school district-wide vote. It's not necessarily the November vote that they're registering for.
Understand?
Yeah. So if they register the way they've done it for 150 years, they'll be registered for the federal elections, county elections, New York State, but they'll also be registered for the school district one, which is why, I think the natural inclination is that's the preference, because then there's no confusion that they thought they registered, but they really only
I
registered.
apologize, I wasn't here. Is that what we're moving towards? Get
Well,
rid of that
yes, theoretically moving towards getting rid of the personal registration, but, so that was one question that I had, was that 6 weeks, could that cause a problem for some people? And then my other question relates to the election district. So we just last year moved to 2 election districts in our district for the votes, and if we move to the no personal registration option, it says school districts without personal registration of voters may not be divided into election districts by action of the Board of Education. However, if they already exist, the election district so formed shall continue in existence until modified by resolution of the Board of Education. My confusion there is, if we have no personal registration, it says that, the Board of Education has no power to divide them. However, if they exist, they will exist until we change them. But if we don't have any power to make them, if we don't have personal registration, then how do we have power to modify them? So just clarification on that. I mean, is it going to all become one district? Is that the only option for the board to take if we get rid of this option, is to get rid of the districts altogether, and we can do that by resolution? because it's suggesting we can do something by resolution, but in the language where it says that we can't create districts by resolutions. It's by decision of it. Yeah, so it seems like the ones that we have, we can keep in perpetuity. But if we wanted to make a change, what is that change that we can make? Because it suggests we can make a change, but the line before that says that we can't divide. So I don't know if that only changes to get rid of them all together. So, anybody else have any questions?
So that'll be voted on at next
The
meeting?
next, yeah, that's the goal, because you need to know that for kind of the March 9th meeting. So if anybody has any other questions, if they didn't get a chance, I know we just got that today. If you didn't get a chance to email over Pearl. Does anybody else have any reports?
Yes. So myself, Mr. Colbufo, and Mrs. O'Mara got together and we shot a little pilot video for the program. And I believe it's going to be sent out through the chamber, correct?
The board has already seen it, but it's going to be sent to the entire chamber, all the hundreds of chamber members.
Yeah, chamber members, and then hopefully through there we will be able to recruit some mentors for the program. So we're going to wait and hear back and see who we get.
Yep. Sounds great. Anybody else? Okay. Next on the list is City Boces update, and Vanessa will not be here obviously at this meeting, but she is coming at to the next meeting to provide an update on, her attendance at that Capitol conference, and I know the City Boces budget has been talked about, so she's going to give us an update on that, and anything else anybody has any questions about. And now I'll turn it over to Mr. Collins for this.
Right. Okay. Cole Mulhauser was the Section 3 champion wrestling, of course, at 145 pounds. He also received the Most Outstanding Wrestler Award. Peyton Rupert was the Section 3 champion at 152 pounds. Both Cole and Peyton will be headed to the state tournament on February 28th and 29th in Albany. The girls basketball team raised over $14,000 for Central Square's volleyball coach, Julie Daniels, during their annual Coaches vs. Cancer fundraiser. Many thanks goes out to Coach Brazell, the girls basketball players, their families, and the community. Really, all you have to do is a Google search, just type in Central Square Athletics, and we seem to be in the media at least once a week about some type of amazing thing, not just athletic accomplishments, but when they really interview the students, they're doing amazing things. Just recently as well, you had Coach Majik's rifle team being recognized, but again, when they interview the players, it's amazing. They talk about the attributes that we have that we want for all of our learners, so it's pretty special. Just kudos to the athletic department. Congratulations to the high school winter drumline members for their improved performance in the competition over the weekend. The Red Hawk Regiment winter drumline improved their score and moved closer to the class leaders. Congratulations to the members of Central Square Middle School Winter Percussion Ensemble on their excellent performance in competition this past Saturday. Central Square is the only school district in New York State that has a competing middle school percussion ensemble, and these students should be recognized for their achievement. It was fantastic. Congratulations to Central Square Varsity Winter Guard for their excellent performances at the WGI South Brunswick competition over the weekend. The Varsity Winter Guard placed first out of 10 competing guards in class competition. That is my report.
Thank you. Moving on to item H, items for discussion and action. Can I get a
I'll
motion?
make the motion to accept.
Approve item H1. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by McCarthy, second by Steve. Any discussion? Now this is the approval for the second reading, so once we vote on this, if it gets approved, these will become the new policies. So, all those in favor?
I'll make the motion to accept H2.
Motion by McCarthy, second by Lloyd. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Got this one right? This calendar we got right?
This is good, a really good calendar.
Really, you know,
Randy, did you say it? Okay. All right, I will make a motion that the Central Square School District Board of Education move into executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular person or corporation, superintendent effectiveness, mid-year discussion, and get a second. There's no action to follow. So any discussion, we will be adjourning from executive session, so no one has to stay. All those in favor? It's unanimous? Okay.